There once was a gardener who spent years trying to eliminate every weed from their garden, armed with tools of criticism and weapons of shame, believing that perfection could be achieved through relentless war against what they deemed unworthy. Each morning, they would survey their plot with the eyes of a harsh judge, cataloguing every flaw, every imperfection, every sign that they were failing at the impossible task of creating something without shadows. The roses wilted under the weight of constant scrutiny. The soil grew hard from the stomping of frustrated feet. Even the beautiful blooms seemed to shrink back, sensing they too might be found lacking for seasons upon seasons. The gardener's hands knew only the roughness of pulling and cutting and forcing, never the gentleness of simply tending what was already there. Until one morning, exhausted from the endless battle, they sat down among the flowers and weeds alike, too tired to fight anymore. In that moment of surrender, something shifted. For the first time, they noticed how the so-called weeds provided shelter for tiny creatures, how the imperfect roses still carried sweet fragrance, how the garden's wildness had its own untamed beauty. They realized they had been trying to love their garden into perfection, when what it needed was to be accepted into wholeness. The soil softened under gentler hands. The plants began to breathe. The gardener learned that transformation happens not through harsh correction, but through compassionate witnessing, not through fixing, but through seeing with tenderness what has always been worth loving. Years later, visitors would marvel at the garden's wild beauty, never knowing its secret, that it had flourished, not despite its imperfections, but because someone had finally learned to tend them with kindness. Sometimes the most profound healing happens when we stop trying to eliminate our shadows and start learning to dance with them in the light.